Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target Masterclass for Investing with Military Precision. Today is Monday, June 29th. Can't believe this year is halfway over. I know a lot of people are saying, I can't wait for this year to be over. But I did see a meme this weekend that said, back in the day when mama would slap you so hard, she'd slap you into next year. And the kid was like, please, let's have this year over with. But we're halfway through. When you look at this trading week, it's only a 4-day week. You have Friday is markets are closed as the holiday. So everybody's off that day. So again, only 4 days in the room this week. For bringing you up to date on the podcast, have 10 episodes out now. We still only have 6 members of the squadron. I expect that to increase. My projections are that we'll have 12 by the end of July. We'll see on July 31st if that's true. But have 10 episodes out, have 230 total downloads. So got over 50 this weekend, so I think we can expect to see that. We are having the July 1st 6 p.m. launch party that's going on, so I expect big numbers from that. You'll see a Facebook event. Again, I'm marketing that, and we will go from there. I think that should turn out pretty good. Over on, I'll show you the OTOT homepage a little bit later, but I've got the interviews, a couple of the interviews of the financial thought leaders pulled up. I have an NFL player that I interviewed, and then also a independent movie maker that I interviewed. So those will be videos that you'll be able to check out on the OTOT YouTube channel, and those will also become podcast episodes once everything releases on the 1st. So pretty happy with how things are setting up for that. That'll be a Zoom party, but it'll be Facebook Live for you guys to be able to watch if you're interested, or catch the replay if that time's not good for you. Okay, for the new folks in our room, make sure you, on your chat window, you have all attendees down there set up so you can see everybody in the chat. Also, make sure to use a call sign, or one will be issued to you. For our mission objectives today, we're going to grow our money, we're going to protect our money, and live off our money. As always, specifically today, we're going to talk about over-the-counter stocks and how they trade and how you invest in them. Now, the specific of which mission objective that is in, it's definitely a grow your money. Anytime you hear over the counter, think speculation, think penny stocks, even though not all of them are penny stocks, and I will show you that. But certainly there's a lot more risk in these names, so probably not right for you if you are in a capital preservation phase or income generation. So that's what we're talking about today. For our flow, it'll be start with long stuff, go to short, get open, and then short, and then long. We'll go around the world on the market review and see what we have for the headlines as well. There's our 6 names we'll talk about. That first one is the name that you might, it's like when Prince changed his name, the stock formerly known as LK is now LKNCY, and it's not trading yet. So we'll see as far as if it opens up today at the market open. I don't expect it to. I'm not sure it will open this week. But then again, I was surprised that it already had a ticker that popped up this morning. So maybe it opens at the open. We'll see. But it's not trading at this instant. So we'll follow that. I have it on another screen, so I will see it that fast. Or if I don't, my tech support will, and we'll switch over to that real time if once it opens, because I am curious as to see what happens. And then some other names you may or may not recognize, but we will talk about those. We'll get into some day trading today. We'll go through that right at the market open, and then if you have any issues, there's the contingencies. I heard one person had trouble this morning. Remember, if you have any trouble, just email steve@otot.now and your problems will be solved right away. That's the hope anyway. All right, standard disclaimer, this is educational information, so don't make a decision based off of what you do here without doing your own due diligence. All right, let's hit CNBC up and take a look at around the world. For our headlines, markets are in the red a little bit this morning. So actually, excuse me, the NASDAQ's in the red. The Dow and the S&P are in the green. I sent a video out late last night to a different set of people, which some of you are in, and kind of talking about how this week's going to go. There was like zero good news this weekend. So I could see today coming in pretty hard. I was actually very surprised that the futures are still in the green. So we'll see. My take would be we see some red today, but There are some good news earnings stories out, and there are some good news vaccine stories out, Gilead being one of them, but we'll get to the headlines here in a minute. Let's look over to Asia. Asia solidly in the red, so that also, especially on Mondays, that means that that could carry over into our market since they open before we do. Let's check out Europe and see how they're doing. Europe's in the green, so that's a good sign. So we shall see. US, we'll take a look at Friday's numbers. Remember, it's a big down day on Friday. Both Wednesday and Friday were the big down days, and the VIX up over 30. We'll take a look at bonds. Up a little bit, but nothing significant. Over to oil, still hanging out below 40, so it'd be nice to get that above 40. And we'll check out the precious metals. So kind of mixed across the board there, not much of a note. So we'll go back to the headline review on the main page. All right. BlackRock sees risk for U.S. stocks in the second half. What I said, if you haven't watched my video from last night, is yes, you've got the coronavirus thing. That definitely has an impact. However, the national election, I think, is the bigger fish to fry out there. So there's going to be volatility. Now, from a trading perspective, you want volatility because that makes it easier for things to move and you to capture your 3R. From an investment philosophy, expect some red. Don't get upset about it. Just expect that the market's going to come in. If you have something kind of fishy in your portfolio that you really don't like, now's the time to cut that loose. But if you are in best of breed names that are going to survive just fine no matter who's president, then you are in the right place with your money. So don't sweat it. All right, let's see what else we have here. Boeing. Boeing's their 737 MAX. Remember, their trouble child is flying today, I think, for the first time. So they're back to testing that thing. Hopefully that becomes now a good news recovery story for Boeing. Boeing went down to below 100. It popped up to, I think, close to 200. Now it's settled in significantly from there. So they could use some good news. All right, the weekend coronavirus spike, that's, they'll probably see some more of those. You see the Health and Homeland Secretary, we have to act. Well, there are actions being taken, and I think that my take on it is we're doing the right things. Look, the governors in Texas and California have closed the bars. I don't think Florida's governor did, but probably will, right? So I don't know. It seems about right. I live in Texas. We're kind of hunkering down again, kind of keeping the family a little more core, staying home, whatever. It's easy to do. As far as the Gilead, they also, their remdesivir, however you say that, 31 or $3,000 per treatment. I think it's 500 if you have insurance, more of the public insurance stuff. But again, it's out there. I did see a video on what it would be like if they put you on a ventilator and how far they have to like shove it down into your lungs. And that's like, if you remember back to the don't do drugs, kids, say no. That is something that is kind of crazy. As far as how far, I mean, just if you see a picture of it, you're like, I don't want to do that. So, all right, let's see. Yep, a bounce off of the 730-point plunge. We'll see if that holds. I'm not actually expecting it to. Bond buying in Europe, that's a good news. Hey, I haven't heard this. Financial resiliency. I'm going to make a note. I want to do that for the topic tomorrow because that piques my interest. Financial resiliency score. So maybe you have 2 scores now. We won't go into it today, but I'll get smart on it for tomorrow. Yeah, Iran issued a warrant arrest over Trump. Remember QSM, Soleimani, if you remember back from the day. Yeah, so they're going to arrest Trump for that. Right, whatever. All right. Starbucks they were part of the teams that have announced. So Facebook has obviously been in a little bit of trouble. They dropped 8% on Friday because people are pulling ad dollars out because they won't get in and censor some of the hate. So you've got a freedom of speech argument, and then you've got the what sort of censorship they should do. So they're back in the discussion again. It's going to probably hit the stock for a while. I still think the bigger factor there is all the ad revenue that comes in. So I'm really not worried about Facebook in the long term, but you could see the stock get hit from there. All right, see what else we have. Oh yeah, Chesapeake, that could be a short today. So again, I want to put that down on my list, CHK short, because they did officially file for bankruptcy. So we shall see. All right, we can get out of that and go over to TD Ameritrade. We'll do our market review. So here's where we've been for the past year. We know all about that. If you go to the right-hand side, again, there's our AI put the channel up there for depiction. You can clearly see if those lines were to be extended that we fell out the bottom of the channel on Friday. Generally, from a technical perspective, and you guys know this as you kind of cut your teeth, is doing some day trading stuff. When something falls out of a range or a channel like that, then what you will see is the sorry, tech issues on my part, largely induced by me. What you'll see when something falls out of a range, it continues to fall out hard. So was Friday enough of a fallout? I don't think so. I think there's probably going to be more, plus negative headlines. So it's all kind of set up for the market to go south. So I'd be looking to day trade short today. But we shall see if it holds. I honestly don't care if it continues to fall down to, I don't know, maybe the 270 range would be concerning. That'd be another 10% from here. That'd get everybody excited again. I don't see that happening. Maybe down to 290, 285 or so. But that's what I expect. We shall see. All right, let's zoom into last week. I talked about Wednesday and Friday being the big moves down. So you can see it depicted there in the middle. And then Friday, the good news from Friday is that most of the drop happened early in the day, and then things kind of settled down. So that's good. Now, I will say with the 3-day weekend coming up this weekend, that there are times when there's a lot of selling on that last day of the week, just because it is a shortened week and people don't want to hold their money in the market over the 3-day weekend, but that's mostly traders. All right, let's move to earnings. A lot of names coming out as earnings kind of start to kick off again. What you will see, though, is the one I want to talk about is Micron releases after the bell. Micron had kind of run up pretty big, and then it got a couple downgrades. Chips have been hit kind of hard, so it's come in significantly. I do think they put up good numbers today, and I think that bumps the stock back up. So again, that's a name that I watch regularly. It's sitting at 48, 49 right now, so maybe that gets bumped back up to the 50 after market today. Okay, let's go over to let's see, go to the website down here for on time on target. We're going to share that out with you here real quick. What I want to show you guys is the interviews that are coming up next week. If you want to get an example, click on booking from the main page. And then, yeah, so I'm kind of excited about this. It's pretty easy to do, but for the folks I've invited up to be my guests, and some of you may recognize these characters, but I've put a couple of teaser videos on here. These are not out through the podcast yet, but again, these will end up on the YouTube channel, actually already there. But I won't really announce that to the free world until July 1st. But James Short's an independent movie maker, had a fantastic interview. And then Vic King's a former NFL player, kind of giving me some insight into the NFL and how the money works. He was very, very upfront about the contract, when it starts, when it stops, how much you got paid, and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool stuff. So we can get rid of that and go over to Schwab. We're going to talk about over-the-counter investing. And the first name you're going to see is a blank slate. That's our Luckin Coffee, LKNCY. It'll get a little while before I get used to saying that instead of just LK. But sure, you know the story. They ran into fraud. They halted trading for about a month, opened back up, sold off hard on the speculation that they were going to get delisted. Friday, officially, they announced they were going to be delisted off the NASDAQ and onto, so that means you just go to over-the-counter, OTC, which is our topic of the day. And you have to have either a 4-letter or a 5-letter ticker if you're over the counter. So therefore they had to make a change, and that's what we've got now. So we'll see. That chart will come to life, once we see the trading there. Okay, the next name I have for you is 10 Cent Holdings, and this tells you when you think over the counter, you're thinking penny stocks, you're thinking pink sheets, all that stuff that, if you watch the movies, Wolf of Wall Street talked about it. And it's just suckers bets, right? This is what all the people that write, not all the people, a lot of the people that write newsletters that crush your mailbox. And if you Google some of these names, you're going to get an onslaught of speculators that are going to send you their best ideas. And the one that they had that made 80,000%. Okay, whatever. I don't fish in this pond very often, so I really don't like to. that I will if I see value. Tencent Holdings, here's a penny stock, and penny stocks in the big finance world really means below $5. So it doesn't really mean penny, but in this case, it's up to 62. So why hasn't it gone over the main exchange? I don't know. They have to apply for it. If they don't care, then we don't care. They want access to the American capital, and they've got it. So that's why when everybody was freaking out about LK getting delisted, it's not a big deal. Now, the stock got hit harder than I thought it would, but it is what it is. And if LK opens up down, I'm going to buy more. LKNCY, that is. So that's Tencent Holdings. You know, they're the parent of Epic Games, which is the parent of Fortnite and Valorant. All right, the next one, middle left there, is BOSQF. That is a medical firm. That's a name you might notice. I have that in the book as well. So basically the top 4 I have in the book. A speculative name. Again, it's a medical firm, but it's also making a big push into psychedelics. That's a lot of risk. I don't necessarily like it, but I have a little bit of it. Look, it's down at 6 cents. So Clickstream is another penny stock that I am in. It's either, it's one of these, it's either will or it won't go higher, but down at 7 cents there. It's a company that has basically an app where you can kind of play games on the app and earn money. Again, advertising, I don't know. We shall see. But I do think it has some upside. It's been up to about 25 cents before. Okay. So let's look at Genius. Was a name that I believe Predator brought up not too long ago, or maybe we saw it on the tab, but somebody looked it up for me. Again, kids, it reminded me of the old Leapfrog. If you remember Leapfrog, the kids interactive kind of educational / tech stuff. So a great thesis, if you will. But when you see the pain of that stock, it reminds me of the old Leapfrog stock. I mean, that was just a house of pain. I'm not sure if I ever made any money off of Leapfrog, but up to almost 14, down to 250. So something to watch, not something I necessarily want to be in. But when I Googled, most active OTC stocks, that was one of the names that popped up, and you can see that across the bottom. Okay. And then out to the right, I generally like to offer a ETF. So if somebody's like, I want to get into this stuff, but I don't want to buy individual names, is you can always get an ETF. This is the iShares Microcap ETF. And by definition, I had to look it up. Thanks for asking, because I know you were thinking that. That means 50 million to 500 million. So that's their definition of microcap, to be able to hold it into that fund. iShares is a good name, obviously. BlackRock, we're in the parent company long, so I do like to support those. Okay, let's take a look at the tabs for going in short, or for going into some day trade. Okay, first name, let's pull up Chesapeake, CHK. I see your comment there, Predator. Honestly, I don't think management looks. I guarantee you it's on their daily brief. It's up in the right-hand corner or something. But much like if you think of long-term investors, that's what management should look at their stock, right? It literally is what it is. It should not affect what you're doing. If you're doing the right thing for the company, then it shouldn't affect it. Same thing if you have a thesis for Apple, then that it's best of breed and that it's going to have 10, 20 years of runway. You honestly don't care about a headline hit to the stock price. So it's kind of an interesting way to think of that. And when you see headlines like Facebook, I saw it this morning, they lost 58 billion in market cap. Guess what that means to Facebook? Zero. That's the stock price moving, and it's a simple math equation of stock price times how many shares are outstanding. It has absolutely nothing to what Facebook is doing on a day-to-day basis, but it sure makes a great headline. And then, of course, during the big drop there in March, Apple and Amazon and Google are all losing, billions in market cap. It's honestly, it's nonsense. And it's also nonsense when you hear like Tesla has a market cap bigger than like Ford and Chrysler, all those people combined. It's nonsense. So anyhow, I mean, they have to write about something. So when they put out these market cap headlines, I just chuckle and go whatever, and move on. Okay, so let's. I'm going to take a look here at some names. Workhorse is a name that we've been in. That's gapping up. Look at that again. 20% pre-market. So close at 990 up to 1190. People are finding out about this. I think, yeah, that's who we talked about on Friday as far as our topic of the day was Workhorse, I believe. So yeah, just if they've solved the last mile, the stock's just going to go higher. I would hate to buy into it here though. Shell's another one, moving higher. So we got to write these down. So I've got Workhorse long, Shell long. Again, these do not fit our thesis of having moved up 5 to 10%, but if you were going to take a flyer on a name in motion, then you certainly could. See if there's a headline associated with this. Cody's on the move as well. That's a makeup company. All right, take a look around here. There's Shell again, pharma company. Boeing's gapping up 5% on volume. So it's been beat up pretty hard. I have BA long here. I don't really want to go long and when I expect the market to roll over pretty big short, but that would be an option for you to go long. Test a little bit. All right, let's look at the decliners. Intercept Pharma on volumes got hit too hard for me to want to touch it. Facebook's down 3.5%, coming off 8%. I would not short Facebook, but personally, but I could certainly set up for a short as well off of that. Beyond Meat got downgraded from, so we're going to watch that because that stock's kind of crazy for where it's been. So Beyond would be short. BYND, they were downgraded from overweight to underweight, which skips some steps. So it's a pretty significant downgrade. There was some, I can't remember the exact verbiage of the downgrade, but when you look at the stock, it was up at 66. It closed at 141. It's down at 136 now. I kind of like that. We'll keep that in our cross check. 3.5%. Would like to see that drop a little more. Spotify, a little light on volume, so didn't catch a headline there. Okay, there you go. Predators ain't going to take Beyond. May look at that as well. Let's pull up Twitter since Predator put in. Let's go TWTR. All right, closed at 29, down to 28. Small gap. See what we've got here for not seeing what's driving Twitter down, so not going to touch that. But since you brought it up, we'll put it on our watch list. Twitter short. If you got a thesis, throw it in the chat. All right, let's take a look at the next tab over. Shell higher, UGAS back to life, but again, it's going to go away. Now, what I don't know, I knew exactly what was going to happen with LK when it got delisted. What I don't know is when Credit Suisse said UGAS is like going away. I go, what do you mean going away? Like we're zero? I don't know. We shall see. Oh yeah, you're right. I got that, Predator. It's caught up in the same issue as Facebook, except it's not necessarily getting the hard press that Facebook is. So good point. I should have known that. All right, we got Gap gapping up. Let's pull up Gap GPS. It's about eighth down. All right, close at 12. It's up at 13. That's the price target. That's a continuation kind of on Friday. If you look at that huge move up Friday and up to 14, it settled down at 12. I wouldn't touch that based off of that headline, but that's just me. Let's pull up Cody, COTY. I think that's the ticker is the actual name of the company. Yep. Okay, they're gapping up. You can see 418 up to 481. So that's 18% or so, if my math's right on the fly. Again, 20% Kim Kardashian. They're buying 20% of her stake in her cosmetics. Remember, they bought Kylie Jenner's for some ridiculous price back in the day. So So getting some life back into it there, back up to 480 to where it was, what, 10 days ago, 9 days ago. So that's interesting. We'll take a look at that. I would not trade that myself, but I kind of like it. I'll put Facebook as a short down here as well, right next to Twitter on the same thesis. All right, 5 minutes till. Let's see what else we have up here. Boeing gapping up. We've talked about China life insurance. Low volume disregard. Spirit. Yep. Where did Spirit go? 4%. They have the volume. Go ahead and click on that. Not seeing the headline. I would imagine that the airline makers might actually be getting pulled up by Boeing, since Boeing's, and all the ETFs tie them together. So, all right, let's go to the next tab. I'm gonna do a quick glance at the market here and see how the market's doing while we talk about the last tab. Okay, up, but not quite as much as it was. So once you can start getting the big board set up with the names we're talking about, I'll look at these. We've talked about Workhorse, long, insurance acquisition. Don't know what that is. Not going to touch it. Beyond Air, that's kind of funny. So I like Beyond Meat. Is there a new Air out there? Wouldn't touch that. Nikola is gapping up as well. So NKLA long would be another option. And overstock.com. That's an interesting name, OSTK long. So lots of longs to look at, not too many in the shorts. So let's go over to TD Ameritrade as we set up the big screen. As a reminder, SPY is on the left. Then we've got Twitter on the left, and we'll put, let's put Beyond up there in wherever you want. There we go. So there's your Beyond Meat. Yeah. I don't want to take Boeing long. Let's see. Beyond short. Yeah, I think Beyond short's the way to go. So I'm going to go in with that with you. So I will get over here and I'll take a looser trade. Beyond. That's question A. Okay, we got a Facebook short in there. I saw that. I considered that as well. Beyond short. Where are we at on price point on Beyond? Okay. Oh yeah, I'll take at least $1 stop here. Gosh, 130. That's a $6 move right there from top to bottom. Excuse me. Yeah, 580. I'm gonna take a $2 stop. And I'm gonna take it at the open. In at the open, out at 15 minutes. So I'll let mine cook for a while. So again, a little bit looser, actually significantly looser than yours. Let's see, what did you have there? 40-cent in at 2 out of 10. So I'm going in earlier and out later with a bigger stop. We'll see how all of that works out. Boom, that should be in the room. It corrected. That's BYND. You know what I'm saying. There we go. All right, we have less than a minute to the open. We're going to put, let's put Facebook in the middle. So again, our trades will be on the left and right screen. We'll be watching Twitter for the same sort of thing as they sell off there. All right, let's see when your burner's going into Facebook at the open. So that's when we'll see it. And then I'm into Beyond at the open. So we'll get those drawn up there here in about 15 seconds. Facebook setting up pretty nice, kind of backed up there. I kind of like that. Okay, I took beyond at the open, so we can draw in our open on the right there for me. Looks to be about 133, 31, 32-ish, somewhere in there. Okay, that'll be my open. Let's see. And then I've got a $2 stop, so 135.25. We get that put in there as well. 135.32, sure, that works. So that's what it has to hold. All right, let's zoom in on Facebook. Again, Burner took that at the open, so our open is, yep, 209.80, that works. And let's see what sort of stop, $1 stop, so 210.80. So off the chart, we don't have to worry about that. Okay, there's a nice stripe down. Look at that move. That was what, $2 right? Nope, just $1. Nope, $2 right there. Look at that move. That is awesome. So 2088 is 1R. So that's already a 2R move. And again, if you're going to be out at 206.80 with a 3R move if it hits it on this bar. So if you can draw as 1R point at 208.80 and then another one at 207.80. So that's setting up like a beautiful trade. Beyond's dropping like a rock. And yep, there's a second R. There we go. Okay, in at 2 minutes for the Predator. So if you can mark 131 as the entry for Predator, so give him maybe like a small bar or some way to identify that. And you don't have to draw it. I think he's already back out. So it's a 40-cent stop, right? Yep. So 40 cent would already be kicked back out. So we need to draw on that. So just to recap, so 131.10 is probably the entry, and you're already up to a touched 131.85 or so. So when you're looking at a big high price stock, remember if you put it as a 40-cent stop, it's almost a scalp. Because with a stop that tight, you really don't have any room. When you think of 40 cents in relation to $130, that's not much, right? So the so we'll continue to watch that. All right, Facebook is backing up. Looks like Facebook has been knocked out now. 210.80 is the high there. So what a crazy move in Facebook. So 209.80 all the way down to 2.5 R's. And then you get knocked out for a minus R. But that's why you have your stop in, and that's why you just eat the loss. All right, it's 1R. It's not a big deal because you make 3 when you're right. All right, over to my trade and beyond, still in the green there. So we'll see how that rolls out. That's a crazy move in Facebook. I'm looking at the setup in Facebook, thinking if it'd be worth re-entering that trade. You get stopped out at 210.80, which is right at it. So you could go back into this trade here if you were going to trade a stock again. See how it's kind of wanting to fall out of that 210.8 range. So I would wait till it backs down to maybe 210.6 and take it short it again at 210.60 if it hits it, which it sure looks like it's about to fall straight down again. And then again, I would take that with, you have to go up to a 212 stop. So 210.60, I'd be in it right here. That's a $1.40 stop. So you're basically taking the trade here, 210.60, that it's going to fall and it's never going to go up to 212 throughout, the first half hour of trading. So we shall see that if it works. So again, that would be entering the trade here. And I'm out of my league on drawing, so I will not attempt, so you can fix whatever it is I'm trying to do here and back out of that. All right, Twitter did a nice setup as far as setting up pretty high. I was trying to draw at 210.60, another stop, and then put the upper stop at 212. That would be your second entry, or if you didn't take it at the open, that would be where I would enter. So red at 212 even for a $1.40 stop. I called that verbally, which is what we're doing there. Okay, so that's where I would have that trade. And again, if you get stopped out again, then I'd be done for the day on that. Okay, beyond is falling nicely. Looks like about an R plus there. Let's look at the overall market. The market is in the red. We'll refresh CNBC. Here, I would have to imagine will be red, not quite red across the board. That's not updating. So over here, I'm seeing the NASDAQ's in the red. The Dow's still up 0.6 or so. And the SPY still barely in the green. That checks with what we're seeing if in the upper right of the chart there. So let's see, in at 133.40 with a, what I put, $2 R, so 133 minus 6, 127 is where that'd have to hit. So we're at the 2R point on beyond. So again, I would let that continue to fall. Some other names we'll look at, we'll put it in the Twitter panel, is Chesapeake Short, CHK. After their announcement of bankruptcy, you'd think that'd be selling off. We shall see. Maybe halted today because of the bankruptcy announcement. So we'll check back on that. Let's put a workhorse long, WKHS. Hey, Luckin's open. Put that back up there. Sorry. What's that? LKNCY. Look at this. So it looks like it opened pre-market. If you can zoom out to see if it zooms out anymore, that might be it. But I do want to check. Yeah, okay. So it opened, what, 4 minutes prior to the market at $1. And so the first trade was at $1 and then down at 95. You know my thesis. I'm a Luckin long guy. So we'll see how it continues to trade. So Luckin is back open and in the game under its new ticker symbol. So we'll keep an eye on that. We'll come back to that. We don't need to stare at that. The naysayers was short Luckin right there at a beautiful entry, probably a 5 cent. I would not touch it because I obviously think it's going long. So Luckin is back in the game. So we were looking at workhorse. Sorry about that. Excitement. WKHS. Okay, again, up 20%, so not much of a, that'd be kind of a crazy entry long there. All right, let's look at Shell long, SHLL. So again, up 26. Now that one would have worked at the opening. If we get a delayed entry of about 3 minutes there. Been a nice pop, that's up 25% on the day. Not quite to 3 hours and beyond. It looks like it's going to probably strike down and hit it here, though. So it's toying with it. Another name we'll look at is Boeing long on the left here. So yeah, market's starting to come in pretty hard to the red. So that'll again help the shorts out there. If we can put Boeing on the left-hand pane. So SPY officially went red there. All right, again, that was a Boeing long story. So you would have really got nothing out of that. The market coming in is just too heavy. Beyond we know about Facebook and Twitter. Let's look at Cody, COTY. All right, and that was a long based off of the Kim Kardashian deal. So not getting much love there. So, all right, and then NKLA. Again, I saw a post, was it news today of taking orders, and yeah, I got crushed on Friday. Literally, I saw an analysis on Nikola, their actual stock, if you backed it all out and did all the stuff you do in finance when you calculate what a stock price should be, it's in the teens. And that's what it's worth. It's kind of like Tesla. I mean, Tesla's worth like 150 a share, even though it's at 1,000. It's insane where these things are going. So, and next one, we'll look at overstock.com, OSTK. All right, there Beyond Meat, that's the 3-hour trade. So I know I'm in it for the game until whatever 15, 20 minutes or whatever, but there's your 3 hours and beyond. So that worked nicely. So yeah, this is where with that kind of pattern, I would take 2/3 of it off at the 3-hour point and let the last 1/3 ride, because it's showing no signs of coming up. And with the market now, the SPY is down 0.15%. So SPY, NASDAQ in the red, all negative news. That's where you can hold that last third of your shares for a little while. I'd reset the stop to even, 133 or even 132 or so, and just let that thing fall. Facebook's backing up some. We still haven't been stopped back out of it. I wouldn't be too worried about it, but it's a tough name to short because it's so strong. And then overstock.com long, that would not have worked at all. So that is coming right back down. Okay, let's look in the chat for other names here. See what I missed. Thanks for the shout out on the podcast. So most people do listen either when they're driving or while they're jogging, that sort of thing. Let's see what else is here. Send you food and drink to celebrate on the 1st. Yeah, it's a Zoom party. I'll have some emojis to be able to send you. Put them up on the screen, right? Day traders and Genius, I think so. Let's take a look at that. Let's put that in the left panel. GNUS. And hasn't even moved 10 cents on the day. That is one of those setups though, to where it looks like there's a buyer at 235. So we'll see. Looks like there's a seller at 236. So maybe that's the JP Morgan trading desk just sitting there scalping a penny over and over and over and over and over, right? Or some 15-year-old sitting at home doing it. Boy genius kind of thing, or girl genius. All right. Short and Beyond and Twitter, we talked about that. Talked about Beyond and the stop size. Okay. Okay, that is it for the chat. So let's look at the long and short in the overall market and see what's going on today. All right, got Workhorse 17%. BOSQF is one of those names we talked about, up 10%. And again, it's down in the pennies, so those things can move a ridiculous amount. Look at the SPY all the way to the right, though. That's a pretty big stripe down. So everything that was up pre-market, if you kind of look, it's about to break south of Friday's low. So that's kind of the resistance level. And when we talked about breaking out low of that channel, it could sell off hard today. So just consider that it might have been a little bit optimistic that the market was in the green out of the gate this morning. All right, back to the left there, we've got Boeing up. We've talked about their story. Clickstream up fractionally. Callaway Golf. Nikola, we talked about. Southwest is up. That's probably being pulled up with kind of the Boeing news. ITA is a defense ETF. You got Raytheon. Raytheon Technologies now, not just Raytheon after the mergers. Lockheed Martin's next. All right, let's go over to the red side. Bunch of options. And then Shroom F is a medical stock there. Donkey Kong, DraftKings as I like to call it, is Donkey Kong. It's down 6%. So remember, it's down in the low 30s now to where it was up over 40 there for a while. So we did some profit taking. That's why we do the profit taking. It's still got a lot of momentum behind it, even though I think that's what we're just seeing is it's selling off a little bit. Not all that worried about it. CGC is a marijuana name that has been crushed. Trade Desk is a digital media name that does advertising. So obviously that's getting pulled down on the news of less people giving money to advertisers. All right, you can go back long there. All right, no changes there. We can go back to our trading screen. All right, we're about 15 minutes in. Was I out at 15 or out at 20? Let's see. Out at 15, so that's going to close, not this minute, but the next one. So that'll close in the 3 to 4 hour range. So that's pretty nice. All right. Facebook, which if you took the delayed entry, you'd be in that name. I still kind of like where it is, especially with the market going down. All right. Let's take a look at Luckin again and see how our luck is there. LC, LK, NCY. Oh, back down to $1. All right. Well, I'm going to be loading up if it's in the if it's down near $1. I'm going to buy some more. It has value. It just does. Okay. And let's check out Hertz, HTZ, to see how close to 0 it's getting. All right, down $1.45 or so. And then AMC is their other bankruptcy name. So it's finding its way south as well. All right, getting ready to close out the 15th minute. I don't think it's going to jump back up. So there we go. Closed out at 125 from 133 entry. So $2. Not quite a 4-hour move, but three, almost 4. So 3.8 is what we'll call it. Okay, let's come back to the Investopedia page for over-the-counter stocks. Let's go to this one instead. This is the Market Beat page. Market Beat is a subscription page. So we'll see if we can get to it. There we go. So it only gives you a little bit of access. It says this is a list of 75 companies, and then it blocks them. But here's why I wanted to bring this up is scroll up and put that at the top of the page. There we go. Not so much about Mr. Amazing Loans. I don't think I would touch a stock based off of that name anyway, because that would scare me. But if you go down to the other exchanges, I did want you to see that. So the exchanges we always talk about, the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, and OTC, right? But realize there's ARCA. You'll see that on some stocks. And honestly, you don't care. Options trade on the CBOE, which is the options exchange. You literally don't care where it trades. Now, you will on some over-the-counter trades. You will see a commission associated with that, to where when you say, hey, I thought all this stuff was commission free. Sometimes, like if you were to buy BOSQF, I bet you that has a commission because it's below 10 cents, right? So somebody has to actually go in there and manipulate that trade, because you don't want to use you don't want to buy a market there. You want to put in an entry at like 0.0575 cents, right? So that requires a human to go in there and actually execute that for you. And you're not just buying 5 shares, you're buying like 10,000, right? Shares to get a decent size. So that's why sometimes you will see the commission associated with that. But if you're down in that area below 10 cents, I mean, you're more gambling than investing. So you have to be honest with yourself, so you can't cry about a little bit of a commission there. Okay, let's switch over to the Investopedia page. I did not take the time to look through this, so we'll kind of pause on it slowly while I catch up with you. So again, it's not a formal exchange, it's over the counter through a network. I still think it's all automated, and when you hit your trade, I mean, you get it instantly, so it's got to be. We'll go ahead and scroll up to the top there with over the counter explained. Again, listing requirements, it's a privilege to be considered listed on those primary exchanges, so that's why you can boot them off. And when Trump was talking about all the Chinese stocks getting booted off the exchange, that's what he's talking about, is making them all go over the counter. He can't boot them out of, getting access to the United States Capitol, because that's why they're here. But he can certainly force them to over the counter. All right, let's talk some takeaways. Yep, already talked about all of those. Types of securities, ADRs, which was the topic from another day. So remember, that's an American depositary receipt. That's actually wrong. Remember? So click on that. Wasn't it depositary? Yeah, depositary receipt. So you don't find mistakes in Investopedia very often, but wanted to check myself. We'll go back to the OTC thing again. Okay. It's kind of irrelevant, but interesting. All right, click on up for OTC networks. Now, this is what I don't understand is the the venture market, best market, pink open market. I don't really know how all that works, but that's pretty far down in the weeds. So anyhow, that's a little bit about over-the-counter trading. Let's go back to the TD Ameritrade screen, and we'll close out for the day on Luckin Coffee and see where that is. All right, so it's moving pretty good. Yeah, that's the first thing I'm gonna do is when I hop off the line is pull open the accounts and take a look at getting some more Luckin. So that'll be on my radar scope pretty much all day. So Luckin back in the game under a different ticker, and that's what I've got for you today. Let's see. That's a good question, Predator. You can, but it's impossible. It's not impossible. It's a bunch of pain. So again, the question there is, can you buy stocks in other countries? That's not your question. You're right. The question is actually the second part. It's trading on different exchanges, right? So can you buy something off of the Hong Kong exchange, the HSX? You can, but you're going to pay a commission for it. There was a Chinese stock called WeWant that was not trading in the US, and I had a client that wanted it. So I had to go out, call Schwab and say, hey, can you get this? And like, we can, and here's what it's going to cost. I think it's $20 for them to go ahead and put our shares, and then they keep that on file. So it still shows up on your account statements and everything, and moves daily, but it's on a different exchange. So it doesn't move when it moves when that exchange is open, not our exchange. So you may not see it real time. So anyhow, you can, but generally the first thing I ask is there an ADR available for that particular ticker, and try to get it that way. So, all right, with that, keep an eye on Luckin Coffee today. We'll see what happens. I think it'll be a new story either way, back up to 1.25. So thanks for checking in, and we will see you guys back tomorrow morning. Have a good one. Bye.